There's one thing and one thing only that is keeping every American poor. It isn't your everyday morning coffee. It isn't your trip to Disney World. It isn't even the branded clothing you get in a car, that new car you've always wanted. It's none of that. It's a family member that keeps piggybacking on you for all your life, and that person's name is Uncle Sam.
How did we go from fighting a revolution over a 2% tax on a breakfast beverage to what we pay today? And we're taxed on money when we receive it, when we spend it, when we keep it, when we invest it, and even when we die with it. It gets worse. We commute to work to make that money in a car that is taxed again to register on roads we're already taxed to build, fueled by gas that is taxed even further, and many times tolls that tax you again. And that's to maintain bridges and highways and tunnels that already have billions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, allocated to them, and they're still falling apart. And then when you get to your office that is taxed to exist, in a corporation that is also taxed to do business, that almost certainly requires permits and other things, which are another tax, you are paid a paycheck that the corporation match another payroll tax on top of what they have to pay you. Then you go to a home of which you are taxed to own every single year that we bought with money that the government already taxed us on. Oh, by the way, the more money you make and the more you pay in taxes warrants the government taking more.
How much I just had to pay in taxes for last year. Ooh, I'm irritated as a motherfucker. I just had to pay $270,000 to the IRS. What is the government doing with the money? I don't know, and I don't give a no more. This just sparked anger in me. If I'm gonna be giving and be forced to give, all the profit I just made off my merch just went to the IRS. I'm irritated, I'm pissed off. I'm not giving the government money to go do what they want to do with it. I don't trust them. I don't like it. The anger, the irritation of all of that, feeling taken from, just sparked a whole different idea in my head. And this one's so lit. I'm gonna make a nonprofit of some sort so I can get out of paying taxes so much. And I'm gonna put the money into my nonprofit so it's a write-off for me. I don't gotta pay that shit to the IRS. And then I got an idea to start paying off balances at elementary schools and middle schools for the lunch for the kids. Any kid with an outstanding balance who owes money to the school for food, I'm gonna go pay it the fuck off.
When I saw this stat today, I had to research it to see if it's true, and it is. And I was like, since when is the American taxpayer on the hook to fund the whole world? I mean, we fund 91% of the world? We give money to 177 countries? And I guarantee you, if you ask every taxpayer, hey, are you okay with being taxed out the wazoo and then us turning around and giving your money to other countries, they would say absolutely not. So how the have we gotten here? Seriously, who up in Washington makes this decision? Because all I see right now is people cannot afford to buy houses because everything's so expensive. People are homeless. Families are working 2 to 3 jobs just to survive. People can't pay down their debt because they don't have any extra income because they're taxed so much. Like, help make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. I want to know who in Washington is responsible for this. At this point, we need a revolt. We need a revival. I don't know how we do it, what we do, but we can't. This can't sustain, guys. It just can't.
The income tax wasn't introduced until the 16th Amendment. And do you know who paid income tax then? 1% top income earners, and only 1% of their income. If I introduced a bill today that says we're going to raise taxes to 70%, but only on the top 0.1%, nobody else would think anything of it. But remember the slippery slope in history? We had no income tax until the 16th Amendment. And when it came out, it was easily passed because we are only going to tax the 1% at 1%. And now today, the average person pays between 27 and 50% of their income in taxes after you break down taxes where you live. We had zero until we gave them just a taste. Just a taste. So this is why I say, if you think taxing billionaires is going to solve our problems, you are living in the fucking clouds. You cannot deal with a taxation problem until you deal with a spending problem. This got us off the gold standard. This allowed for us to turn on the printers, and taxes have gone up from 1% of the 1%ers to 27 to 50% of most people, all the way down. The dollar has been devalued by 99%, and we're still going in debt $10 trillion a year. Taxing ain't going to do anything to that. That's why I tell you taxes aren't real. It's an idea. That's why it's easy for the government to convince you, if you hate billionaires, and think they should take money, then you're fighting with rich people over something that has nothing to do with the problem.
I live in Virginia, and in Virginia, even if you own your vehicle, you still have to pay taxes on it every single year. It's called personal property taxes, and it can affect your cars, trailers that you have, campers, RVs, boats, anything along the lines of that. Even though you pay taxes on it when you purchase it, you are still going to pay taxes on it every single year, even if it's paid off. The area that I live in, we get one bill a year, and it is due at the end of every year, right around Christmas time. There are other areas that get a bill twice a year, so they have two smaller bills throughout the course of the year. So let's review our bill because it just came in the mail yesterday. The way it works is the county gets an assessed value for your item. So whether that's your car, camper, whatever it is, they give you an assessed value. And then there is a rate per $100 that you pay. This year's rate is $2.35 per $100 of the piece of property that you own. And then they charge you per month that you own that item. So if you had your car for 12 months, they're going to charge you for 12 months. If you owned it for 6 months and then got a different car, they'll charge you for the first 6 months for the first car and then the second 6 months for the second car. I had to fold this so you guys couldn't see my personal information. But for us to own our personal property in the state of Virginia this year, $2,104.45 is what we have to pay to the county right before Christmas time.
Well, on today's episode of Our Government is So Wasteful, It's Actually Shameful, I have a question. Why is it that we as taxpayers have to pay for the services of organizations that are 100% taxpayer funded? And I'll give you an example. As most of you know, I spent 22 years in the Marine Corps. And in those 22 years, 3 of them I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. That was my home station. That's where I lived. That's where my family lived. And while I was there, my late wife gave birth to our 3rd child. So I have a son that was born overseas. So he doesn't have a birth certificate per se. He has what's called a consular for an American citizen born abroad. And I had to send in to get copies of that for the school district that he's going to and for his passport. So this is the 3rd time that I've sent this. It's $100 to get 2 copies of it. And I sent this into the actual abyss. I have no idea where it is. I go to the bank, I pull out a cashier's check for the money, I take it to the post office with the freaking information that I got from the State Department and send it out to, I don't know, like the void. No idea where that went. Haven't gotten anything back from them. $100 for the State Department to take a piece of paper, make 2 copies of it, stick it in an envelope, and send it to North Carolina. $100 for a complete and total taxpayer-funded organization. Meanwhile, we have DOJ that uncovered billions of dollars in fraud that we're still paying for because our representatives won't relieve us of that burden. All the taxpayer-funded money that we found in Minnesota that we're just going to take right up the keister. What are we even paying taxes for? Who are we paying them to? Everybody receives the benefits of our money except for us. I should be able to walk to the State Department, to a local office and say, I need this, show them my ID, and then get it right back. But no, we can't do that. And then once I get this, if I ever get it, I got to take it back to the State Department and pay another $200 to get the passport. We are existing just to pay the government at this point. How are we a free country? How?
All of this fraud being uncovered in Minnesota has taught me one thing. It's that we pay way too dang much in taxes. Because what do you mean $9 billion with a B, probably more than $9 billion of federal funds have been billed out and paid for services that were just simply never provided. And it probably would have gone on for much longer had one person, one man, a 23-year-old, not taken it upon himself to do the job that so many investigative journalists or reporters, or heck, the government, for that matter, are supposed to be doing. So that's it. That's the TikTok. We pay too dang much in taxes.
Here's a weird financial milestone: paying more in taxes. Paying more in taxes usually means you're making more money. And yes, nobody loves paying taxes, but I would love to get more money. So if I got paid $10,000 and had to pay $2,500 in taxes, you better believe I'd still be excited to have an extra $7,500. So just remember, when you pay higher taxes, it usually means you're doing better financially.
The IRS is taking my money.
Mia, you only have to pay back $421.
Mom, I work a part-time and I'm a full-time high school student. I'm just a girl.
You're just a girl?
I'm literally just a girl.
But when you get paid, you're not a girl to get your nails done. Now you pay the IRS.
Yes, I am just a girl.
Mia,
I got my nails done.
Mia, make a payment arrangement. Make 4 payments of $100.
I can't do that. Then I can't get my nails done. My birthday's coming up. Are you recording me? Because you think this is funny.
I'm going to send this to the IRS. Mommy, it's only $421.
So they're not going to give me my $9?
Yeah, they're gonna give you the $9 for the federal. You take the $9 and your next payment you make it $9 less. Welcome to tax life.
High taxes and high inflation grind the middle class into powder. In the 2 years between 2020 and 2021, the state of Minnesota collected twice the sales tax revenue that they were projected to collect because of rising prices. We didn't even have a tax increase in the state of Minnesota for sales taxes, and yet their revenue doubled. The state of Minnesota is now sitting on a $9.25 billion revenue surplus, and most of that's attributable to sales tax revenue. Friends, prices are going up, and you're paying more for everything you buy, including taxes. Taxes and inflation destroy the middle class. We have to stop it now.
This is your PSA, not to mess with your state sales use tax, because I've been totally up to date and everybody I've talked to has told me wrong information, and I got a letter in the mail that there was a warrant out for me, and I had to call them today and get it all squared away, but like they're not playing no games. And that means I've already paid it. They just lost all my payments, even though they came out of my account. Thank goodness it was all squared away. But the government's gonna come get you if you're not paying your tax. Just let you know.
Y'all, I got my property tax bill today. I know you fucking lying. This shit is highway robbery. I bought my house back in 2022. When I bought my house, it was a little over $6,000. Then less than 2 years, my property taxes went up to over $10,000. Now I get a bill today. It done went up another $8,080.10. I know you fucking lying. They don't want us to own shit. Matter of fact, we never do. We never own shit because whether your house is paid for in full, if you do not pay your property taxes, you could lose your home. And they say this is the American dream, to be a homeowner. I mean, look at this shit. And then they tried to, hold on, y'all, let me show. Then I qualified for the homeowners exemption, right? So what they did was they took it up to $13,443. They took the homeowners exemption up $2,274.48. Look. $11,169 for this year's property tax.
Question of the day. What is something society normalizes that you think is totally messed up? I will go first. I think it's totally messed up that you can buy a brand new vehicle, pay taxes on it. You can sell that vehicle and that person has to pay taxes on it. They sell it and the next person has to pay taxes on it. And they sell it and the next person has to pay taxes on it. So when it was new, taxes were paid on it. No new product was made. It just has simply changed hands. And if sold enough times, that vehicle can generate 30% of its original value, if not more, just simply by changing hands. I can't get behind that. I just can't.
Your kids may have to pay the death tax. What is it? The death tax is the tax liability incurred by your loved ones after you die. This type of tax is also known as an estate or inheritance tax and can result in big bills for your heirs. These 5 states have the most expensive death tax. Number 1 is Pennsylvania. They don't have an estate tax, but they do have a costly inheritance tax of anywhere from 4.5% to 15%. Number 2 is Maryland. Maryland has an estate tax of 16% on assets that exceed $5 million and a 10% inheritance tax. Number 3 is New Jersey. They no longer have an estate tax, but they do have an inheritance tax between 11 and 16%. Number 4 is Nebraska, also no estate tax, and their inheritance tax is between 1 and 18%. And number 5 is Kentucky. They don't have an estate tax either, but they do have an inheritance tax between 4 and 16%.
So as you saw throughout this video, it just seems like taxes are in every aspect of our lives. Doesn't matter if it's just our income taxes, our sales taxes, property tax, even the great and wonderful death tax. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why are we still having to pay taxes even after we're dead? I understand we may have worked during that fiscal year, whatever it may be, but it isn't fair for family members to having to also receive that burden. If you die, you die. You don't have to pay anything. Just let it be. The fact that the government is just controlling every aspect of our lives, and where our money goes, how it's spent, where it needs to be allocated, with us not even really having any decision or any say. What happened to the point where it's the people that say what we should be doing with it? It isn't just the government freely and nilly just going and doing whatever it is. I know there's votes for this and that, but in reality, no one's going to go into it. They don't want to spend extra time to go to these voting sessions or these hearings or whatever it may be. It's just gone ridiculous. If you do agree with me, leave a like below. Comment something that you thought was ridiculous when it came to taxes, if you had your own experiences.